Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your boy Kenny, and this is Triangle: The Secret Storm, Season 1, Episode 6, and the name of this episode is Sheep's Clothing. Man, this was a really good episode. Man, the acting on this episode was awesome. Like, shout out to the cast of this episode. You all delivered, and I was so here, for this episode because it literally had my mouth drop towards the end. But before I get started, let me send out my love and condolences to everyone that was affected by the tragedy in Las Vegas, as well as everyone that was affected by Hurricane Harvey, Hurricane Irma, Hurricane Jose, and Hurricane Maria. If you can lend any type of support or relief, please do so because our fellow man needs our help. And in the times that we're living in, we definitely need to stay together. Okay, so let me begin with this review. The episode starts off with some drama because Sebastian has tracked down Ty. Ty is staying in this apartment. We don't know who the hell this apartment belongs to, but because Sebastian even asked, like, whose place is this? And Ty was like, what difference does it make? You ain't paying for it. So immediately they started going back and forth. Sebastian's like, why are you always such an asshole? You must really think I'm stupid, don't you? And then Ty's like, are you looking for an army? And like, Ty just gives no fucks at all. And then Sebastian brings up the thing that Gary had told him in the last episode, that he saw Ty in a coffee shop kissing some guy. So he brings this up, and Ty is kind of laughing at it like, dude, if you miss me, just say so, but don't come up in here, telling lies and shit. And he's like, I know you did. I know, because someone saw you, because someone actually saw you in the coffee house kissing on some man or whatever. And Ty's like, man, that sounds like some bullshit your sister fed you. And Sebastian was like, no, my sister didn't tell me. And he's like, well, who told you? He's like, it doesn't matter. He just saw you. And I'm like, see, there we go. Gary had already gotten into this boy's head, and now he's believing the bullshit. So Ty's like, you know what? First of all, I don't know why you tripping, because you knew what you was getting yourself into when we first met. And now you bringing up all this bullshit. You know what? That's why I said we need space. So won't you just get the hell up out of here? And then Sebastian's like, oh, so that's what it is? You can just continue to screw around on me and use me as an ATM? Well, how about this? How about I'm just over this shit. I'm done. Let's see if anybody else is going to look out for you the way I have, because I've always been there for you, Ty, and you rather mess around with these nobodies than fuck with me. And Ty was like, man, fuck that. Like, every time I turn around, you talking about money. Like, everything ain't about money. And Sebastian's like, oh, so that explains why you're always broke. I was like, oh, okay. Slick with the words. So Ty was like, man, get the fuck out. He's like, I'm glad. He's like, well, finally we agree on something. Because we actually have been seeing, as far as Sebastian and Ty's relationship, the main thing about their relationship is that they have great sex. But outside of it, they really do not communicate at all. They really don't communicate well. And then Sebastian's like, you know what? I don't deserve this. I deserve better than this. There's men out here who'll treat me far better than you. And Ty was like, well, hell, go out there and find them, because I ain't got shit for you. I was like, damn, Ty. Ty is straight blunt with it, but at the end of the day, I can't be mad at Ty, because Ty has always been upfront with Sebastian. Sebastian just didn't want to accept the reality. So Ty and Sebastian have officially broken up. Or so we think. So therefore, next we actually get a scene with Logan and Naya. Now this is after the aftermath that Gary and Logan got into an argument, and Logan read Gary for filth. Because, Gary, a.k.a. Xanax, did a whole bunch of fuck shit, and we've seen what Gary has done, and the fact that Logan read him for filth triggered Gary to choke the living shit out of Logan. And Logan was just so distraught that he left and did not come home, but now he's back there. Now he's back at the apartment with Naya, and he's packing his things, and he's getting up out of there. And I love Naya. Naya is a true friend because she sees that Logan is emotionally distraught after what's been going on between him and Gary's relationship, because it's just been topsy-turvy since they moved to Easton. So she comforts him, and pretty much, you know, they sit down and they have a conversation, and she's letting them know that, look, you know, you're doing the right thing, you know, because if he will put his hands on you once, he'll do it again. So yeah, you better off just moving on and everything. But then I like when she said that, you know, they both were wrong, meaning both Gary and Ty, because they said that first of all, he gonna bring him back up in here after the threesome. You know, he sought him out, brought him back, and then later on, Ty tells you about it to your face. Like, you know, both of them were fucked up for this shit. And Logan was like, yeah, you know, I just realized I should have never had that threesome. And then I was like, hell yeah, threesomes ain't for everybody. Because fuck that. I'll be damn, I'm gonna bring a bitch to my bedroom and she fucked my man better than me. I ain't having that. I was like, yes, Naya, I'm with you on that one. But yeah, you know, it was good seeing the two of them come together and her being there for her best friend. And Logan is also feeling emotional about the fact that he doesn't want to go back to Philly being a failure, because he gave up his job, his livelihood to move in with Gary, and it's just been nothing but it's just been nothing but up and down the whole time. And Logan is just tired, and I can definitely understand that. So he decided that, you know, he needs to leave for a while and they need some space. Then we get another shocker in this episode. Dr. Chase got her a new little boo thing. And trip this, he's her patient, and his name is Peter Price. I like to call him Peter Piper, and I'll explain why I'm calling him Peter Piper. Because Peter liked to lay that pipe. Because we actually see that Sharon is glowing. Like, Sharon looked like she done hit cloud 9 and she don't want to get off it. But, you know, Peter is straightforward, he's bisexual, and he lets her know that, hey, you know, I'm liking what we got going on and everything. And he's saying that, look, I'm not looking for an emotional attachment and I'm not looking for anything serious. But we can definitely tell Sharon is really feeling Peter, but Peter's one of her patients. She's even sent off her assistant. So, like, girl, you really playing dirty. So I'm like, that pipe must be good, honey. You know, Peter Piper has probably laid a serious, Peter Piper has definitely laid some serious pickled peppers up in your, you know, garden, and you don't know what to do with your damn self. Because, like, girl, you are literally not only crossing ethically, this could ruin your career, but the D is good, and she is not disappointed. I mean, she even got to the point she started asking, like, so are you seeing other women? And he's like, Sharon, you know you're not the only one. I was like, oh my God, he's bluntly honest. Sounds familiar? Or sounds similar to somebody in this cast? Okay, I'm going to definitely wrap that up. But, and then she asks him about men or whatever, and she's like, well, never mind, don't tell me about that. But then he says that, look, you know, I pretty much like what I like, and, you know, I'm proud to admit that I'm bisexual, you know, and it is what it is. So then we also come to find out that Peter knows Gary, and that Peter is also a professor at the same university as Gary, so that's how they know each other. And it was Peter who referred Gary to Dr. Chase. I mean, this web has been spinning in so many different ways, and it's like everybody is attached to each other. It's crazy. So he asks about, you know, have you met with Gary? And she's like, yeah. And she begins to kind of probe a little bit, because we've seen her sessions with Gary, and we know Gary, a.k.a. Xanax, got some serious psychological issues. So she asks, like, so what do you know about him? And he was like, well, I don't know that much about him. He just moved in town. He's a friend, you know, so he's a colleague, and he said he needed help and wanted somebody to talk to someone, and I referred him to you. So why you ask? And she's like, never mind. I'm like, yeah, you better shut that up, because she don't want to. She was pretty much, pretty much trying to make sure that she didn't let out too much. So we see that went down. And then afterwards, we actually see Peter and Gary, at work together. And, Peter's talking about, grading papers and all of that. And then he asks Gary, how's he doing? Because he can definitely tell Gary's going through it, but he just can't put his finger on it. But he's like, well, how things are going? And he's like, things are going great. And then Peter was like, well, how things are going personally? Because, I've talked to Dr. Chase, and she said that she's met with you. And all of a sudden, Gary, a.k.a. Xanax, just starts flipping out. He's like, what did she tell you? Because if that bitch is telling my business, I'm going to have her fired. And then he got the call and everything, and he's like, Peter's like, she didn't say anything, dude. You need to calm down. Chill. And he's like, don't tell me to calm down. And then, he just flipped out and just left. And then Peter's just sitting there like, what the fuck? I had that same look too, like, damn, he just mentioned that the two of you met. She didn't tell him anything about you. If anything, she was trying to probe information about him, but we already know Gary's a sociopath, so Gary knows how to socialize very well, and his craziness goes undetected, which is very well known with sociopaths. So, next thing you know, we see Gary literally barges in Dr. Chase's office. It's like, what the hell do you think you're doing? And she's like, Gary, what's going on? And she's like, you know what? What did you tell Peter about me? Did you tell him? Huh? And then I'm just like looking like, dude, you literally just walk into her office unannounced. Like, you're never supposed to walk into anybody's office without being invited, or at least having an appointment. He just busted in there. She could have had a client in there. So Gary really psychologically is not there, and she is able to talk him down and let him know that, look, what we have is confidential. I will never share your business like that. You can trust me. So they start talking, and in the process, he kind of lets her know that, everything's falling apart. I could lose everything. I could lose my job. I could lose everything. And she's saying that, what's going on with you and Logan? Are you and Logan talking? Has Logan been supportive? And he admits that him and Logan had a fight. He doesn't go into detail what they fought about, but he's saying that I feel like I'm losing him. And she assures him everything's going to be fine. He's probably at home waiting for you. Just go home and talk to him. And I'm like, okay, Sharon, you probably might just dug a grave for your ass on that one. But then she said that, look, you need to call before you show up, because I could have had a client in here. You just can't barge up in here flipping out on me and shit. So, and then the next thing you know, he says, he just grips and hugs the hell out of her. Like, he literally gives her a bear hug, and he is like, thank you. I know I can trust you. I know I can. I'm like, oh my goodness. Xanax has completely lost all his marbles. And it just gets crazier, throughout the rest of this episode. So, we saw that go down. And finally, and then afterwards, we get a scene with Dr. Chase and her brother Sebastian. Sebastian has come to let her know that he's done with Ty, and he's over being taken advantage of, and he's over the fact that when he wants to open up to Ty, Ty is always, shutting him down, and it's like he's just getting tired of being passed off. But then Dr. Chase is like, yeah, you're saying that now, but for some odd reason he got a hold on you and all this shit, but little do you know, boo-boo, you're messing with the same kind of guy, who happens to be your patient. Because Peter is the same way. He's bluntly honest, and he definitely got a magic wood. It's the same thing with Ty. Ty is Magic Stick. Peter is Peter Piper, because he'll lay a peck of pickled peppers, and you won't even know how many pickled peppers that were laid. So, pretty much Ty and Peter have that in common. So it's kind of funny that, you know, Sharon is actually trying to coach Sebastian about his situation when she in the same damn situation herself and she doesn't even know it. So, but he's saying that, look, you know, I'm done, you know, being taken advantage of. I'm done, you know, of feeling, you know, unwanted, you know, and I'm tired of feeling alone. Because even though I was with Ty, I felt alone. I'm like, yeah, because at the end of the day, you both weren't equally yoked. So, yeah, you can be in a relationship and still be lonely, which is proof of that. And then he says that, you know, I will never allow myself to be used like this again. I will no longer allow myself to be taken advantage of. So we saw that go down. Then we actually see that Gary goes home looking for Logan. Logan has left a note that I'm gonna be away for a while. I think we need some space. Don't try to contact me. I'll reach out to you when I'm ready. Which this definitely sets Gary off. Next thing we see Gary sitting at a bar, and so happens the person that sits next to him is Sebastian. You know, so after he's met up with his sister, he shows into a bar, and the both of them strike up a conversation, and we already see Gary has got a sinister plan, you know, for Sebastian, because now he sees that Sebastian's open, and he sees that Sebastian, he definitely knows that Sebastian's gullible, so now he's playing onto it, like, so what's going on? And he's like, well, I'm just kind of going through something right now, but I don't want to trouble you with my problems. He's like, oh, no, it's okay. Because at first when he sat down, he called him Professor. He's like, oh, no, call me Gary. You know, we're not on campus right now. So I'm like, see, this is going to be some mess, because this is your professor, and definitely we know that Gary is known to be messy. So we're already seeing that Gary is already starting to spin this web between him and Sebastian. So all of a sudden he starts saying that, you know, why don't you come over to my place? I'm known to be a good cook. You know, I can make you something to eat at home, and, you know, and I can help you out with your day, because you obviously look distraught. And I'm like, nigga, you know your ass can't fucking cook. You know Logan is the cook in that relationship. Stop your bullshit. So next, we actually see that, you know, Sebastian comes over, and, you know, they start talking, and then he said, and then, like, Sebastian finally tells him, well, I didn't tell you everything when we were at the bar, but to let you know, I just broke up with my boyfriend. I'm just so tired of being taken advantage of. I'm tired of the bullshit. I'm tired of all the fighting and all of that. And then like, you know, Ty's like stupid. And then, no, I'm sorry, Ty, but Gary is like stupid. And Sebastian's like, what, I'm stupid? He's like, oh no, I'm talking about him. He's stupid to let you go. I mean, you're a catch. You know, and he's like, you know, I definitely know what that's like, you know, and that's why I told myself I was never going to be taken advantage of, you know, ever again. You know, trying to play this game that he's been in a bad relationship that ended badly. And we all know that this is all bullshit, but Sebastian is believing it. And then the next thing you know, he's like, well, let me make you another drink, you know, trying to get him drunk. You know, the same type of bullshit he pulled with Ty, he's now trying to pull with Sebastian. And then all of a sudden he gets up, oh, my back, I've been working so hard, are you good with massages? I'm thinking like, nigga, ain't nothing wrong with your back for weak burn, motherfucker. Who the hell you think you fooling with that bullshit? But we all know, especially us kids, that the massages always lead to something else. Trust me, I've been a victim of it myself. So all of a sudden he's like, you know, are you good with massages? She's like, yeah, I'm good with my hands. She's like, yeah, won't you come massage me? Come on. And then next you know, this motherfucker straightened up real quick and walked in the back. I'm like, nigga, there was nothing wrong with your damn back. Full of shit. So we see that going on. Next thing you know, he starts to massage Gary's back and everything, and Gary was like, you know, if we would have met on different circumstances, you know, I wouldn't let just anybody put their hands on me, so I obviously feel very close to you, which is also playing on Sebastian's vulnerability. Then he flips over and asks him to do the front, and he's like, you know, get on top of me so you can like, you know, grip me better. So he gets on top of him and starts massaging his chest, and all of a sudden he looks up at him. He's like, you have beautiful eyes. And Sebastian is like, thank you. And then all of a sudden he's like, you know, and then all of a sudden, you know, Gary just kind of looks at him and is like, you know, if I would have asked you to have sex with me right now, would you deny me? And he's like, well, no, you're hot, you know. And then he's like, I want you. And then the next thing you know, they getting it in, and I'm like, oh shit, this is gonna lead to some bullshit from here point on, because this is your professor. I mean, yeah, because we definitely saw early in the episode, he had told him, well, before they end up in the bedroom, Gary had let him know that, look, you know, the way to get over, because Sebastian was saying that, you know, Ty is on my mind, and, you know, in time I'll get over him. And Gary was like, I know how you can get over him, you know, move on to the next, you know, which in some cases it does work, you know, get under somebody else and have you some fun. But this is a conflict of interest because you're doing this with your professor, you know, so he could use this shit against you. So next thing you know, they having sex and everything, and I'm thinking, yo, Gary is a messy motherfucker, and on top of it, you know, Sebastian is completely gullible because you just broke up with Ty, and it only took about 5 minutes, and you already on your next dick. And it just so happens you got a guy who's actually probably worse than Ty, because at least, yeah, Ty was an asshole, but Ty was bluntly honest with him. And when someone's honest with you, you can't get mad at that, because Ty kept it real. Gary has been lying to Sebastian the whole time, so you went from a nigga who was honest with you to a nigga that lies. Go figure. So while that was going on another part of Easton, Ty has met him a new guy. And trip this, it's Peter. The same Peter that laid the peck of pickled peppers with Sharon. He's now talking to Ty. And we actually see that they're like a match. You know, they both are very, you know, they are both free spirits. They both, you know, they both are not trying to be constrained or be, you know, confined. They both like to explore, you know, so they definitely are vibing. And we see that Ty is smiling ear to ear because the two of them instantly clicked, and they met off an app, I think, because he gave him a fake name. You know, he first told him that his name was Mike, but he says that I've been catfished a few times, so I don't give out my real information until I actually meet the person. And he lets him know that his name is Tyreek, and he goes by Ty, and he's saying that I'm not looking for nothing serious, and Peter's like, neither am I, you know, and Peter also lets him know I'm bisexual, and he says that, and he pretty much lets him know the difference. So he's saying that you're sexually fluid. And he's like, no, being sexually fluid means that you'll have sex with anybody. He says, I have a certain type, and I have a taste, and I go for what I want. And he says, as far as men, you know, when I want something aggressive, I go for a guy because we can have fun, no attachments, and we can have a beer afterwards, or before. And he says, with women, they have a certain quality that a man doesn't have. You know, they have a softness that I like when it comes to women. Next thing you know, he's saying that, they both inside, and, you know, a lot of people were saying they were shocked that Ty got down, like, you know, that Ty, you know, actually bottomed for old boy. I wasn't too surprised. I was actually intrigued, though, because I was like, okay, Ty, I see you, bitch, all right, you know, I ain't mad at you. But I actually understand that, you know, from the standpoint, you know, the base off of who Ty is, Ty pretty much goes with the flow. So whatever kind of vibe he's getting from that guy, that will pretty much detail the type of sexual experience they will have. And since him and Peter are pretty much neck and neck, They literally were having like a versatillion match between each other. He's like, you know, fucking Ty, then Ty flipping and fucking Peter, and it was just a back and forth. I mean, and it's like, man, we just met Peter, and Peter is already sharing his pack of pickled peppers every motherfucking where. He did with Sharon, and now he having fun with Ty, and Ty was smiling ear to ear. So the dick was good, and he was saying that, and then like he's saying that, hey, you know, so after they had sex, Peter was like, I gotta go because I got some papers to grade and shit. So it's like, oh, so you're a teacher? He's like, yeah, I am. So I'm like, that may come to play later on too. And, you know, he was saying, so pretty much, you know, also Peter was like, look, you know, we should definitely do this again. And Ty's like, hell yeah, if you coming in with that sex game, hell yeah, we can do this again. Like, Ty was game for it because he was enjoying that. You know, he met somebody that was just as sexually aggressive as him. And I just thought it was pretty interesting. So I'm like, Ty done met his match. We're going to see how this is going to play out. And come to find out that you and Sharon fucking the same man. And you two can't stand each other. So it's like, it's crazy because everybody is attached to one another. And when one thing falls, it's going to make something else fall on the other end. So I'm loving how this show is set up, that everybody is attached to each other in some way. So that's what I have, guys. If I missed anything, put it down in the comments, or you have any comments about this episode, put it down there. I'd love to talk to you guys. But subscribe to my channel. Click that bell so you can get notifications every time I drop a video. Also, I've started a GoFundMe. Check that out in the description box as well. Also, like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. And I will be back with the next episode of Triangle the Secret Storm. So until then, everybody, take care.